You know, it is a recession. You know,
but
unfortunately.
The thing is, though, with developers, publishers, it's a gamble. They're gambling on it, and they know that. But sometimes the gamble is worth it. Like, sometimes you make enough money, and then, like, you're looking at it in a negative way. Some people look at, oh, I have to pay this, but why not think in a positive way? Yeah, I gave them extra $10. Well, I know that by me doing this and all these other people doing it, they're going to have enough money to succeed to make another game. Because what you're thinking is, by you renting these games and buying these used games, you're taking money away from the developer and publisher, which eventually is going to break them apart because they're not going to have enough money to make another sequel. So that game that you love, that game that you gave great reviews to, it might not be a sequel to that. Yeah. How devastating would it be to you that, oh, I love this game, this is amazing, and you never hear that game again, ever again. Why? Because those people lost money. And that's just the way it is. Like, you need to make up their loss. And that's just their way of doing it. And it may seem like a lot, $10 to you, but it really isn't. Because in reality, you're paying what you should have paid originally. It's fair. It's not like they're saying you have to pay the $60 then pay another $10. No, they're making you pay the $60, and you're not even paying $60 because you're paying less. You're still going to be paying less no matter what. So in reality, you're not paying more than what you should have. Yeah. You're just complaining because you wish you could have paid less. I understand that. But when you look at it in a business sense, you can't do that. You need to make sure that you're making the loss. The money.
No, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that, you know, that's probably a subsidized price, and I understand that. But at the same time, why like, for example, PC and console games, why are PCs cheaper and console games?
Because the console games cost a lot more to transfer over to coding. So PC is easy to ship to code. The PC takes less time to make than that, because you're forgetting all these games are created PC first, then they gotta redo that for the console. And so then when you're coding like that, it's way different. So
why don't they just stay on PC? Why is console that much bigger of a market?
First of all, console is way bigger than PC. All right, how much your PC cost?
I mean,
how much your PC cost?
I think I know what you're saying.
How much your PC cost?
It costs $800.
Exactly.
But at the same time, if we're talking about AAA games, no, we're talking about AAA games, right? Because if you want to talk about which market is bigger, the PC market is bigger just by the wide array of games that they have compared to the console market.
But console market is bigger. PC market had potential to be bigger, and they dropped down because a lot of people cannot afford these high-end games on the PC, meaning that they couldn't afford a PC for these high-end games.
Well, I think you're looking at it from a certain point of view. The point of view I look at it from is that no, you're looking at a certain point of view where it's skewed. It's skewed about who mostly plays the games, and I'm looking at it outside of this country. You're looking at it just playing in the United States. If you look at outside of this country, PC market rules.
I got that, but my point is, of a console, the reason why do you think all these games from the PC are switching to console? Why? Because it's a bigger market. Why? They're going to make more money off the console than they are the PC. Even though PC will look, if you have the right computer, you have the right screen, it will look way better than a console, hands down. There's no way your graphics is going to look better on a PC on a console.
That's kind of what my problem is. My problem is the quality is better on the PC, but on the console it's less quality and you're paying more. It doesn't make any sense.
This is more family oriented. Like, it's easier to control. A lot of people prefer control than a mouse and keyboard. It takes practice to use, and it's just the way it is. A lot of people do not have PCs like that. In order to get PCs like that, it costs a lot of money. You're talking about yours is $800. Yours is a great, gaming PC, but there's ones better than that, and those are even more expensive. It's ridiculous prices for that. Okay, yours is toward the cheaper side of PC, and yours is really good.
Yeah, but let's not forget they're taking a loss on the console, obviously, because we have PS3. What did that start off at? $600, right? Yeah. So at that initial cost, you want to pay for that. Is that a console, right? I mean, the only reason it went down in price is because so many people, bought it, or they took so much of a loss that they had to sell at that price to make money.
Actually, the reason why a lot of the consoles go down in price, like for example, the PlayStation 3, okay, they use different parts. The parts inside are different. Like, as the time goes on, they find better ways. There's more economical, sense. It makes more sense to do it. The price is cheaper.
Yeah, and that's the same exact thing for PCs. That's no different. As the years go, you get better parts for.
You get better parts.
That's the same exact thing.
That's why yours was $800.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So what is the difference?
The difference is $800 and $300. Which one do you rather pay? Which one can you afford? If you have a little kid or something, you're buying a kid a game. Which one are you gonna buy? A brand new PC?
I'm gonna buy a console.
Or you're gonna buy a console? Exactly. And that's the reason why all these games are going to consoles, because it's more accessible to everyone. You're not talking about one type of market. You're not talking about outside the U.S. We're talking about the whole world, and the whole world has console. Whether it's Xbox or it has PlayStation, they have console, and that's just who your target audience is. You're looking at the bigger picture. So that's why all these people online play and all that stuff. You have to keep in mind that you are not just making a game today. When you're a developer or a publisher, you're not making a game just for today. Okay, you gotta think about after this game is done, we're trying to make this game so good that we can create another game, whether it's a sequel to this game or we'll still be around to make more games. Because you cannot just focus on one game. If you're gonna put everything into one game and that game fails, you fail.
Yeah. Okay. I just think that the development cost of one game can be way different than the development cost of another game, and they should have different prices. I don't think that there should be this one price model for every single console AAA game.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
I totally understand what you're saying, but you're forgetting that like a lot of games, regardless how much detail they have into it, like you're forgetting like they still have to print out the games. They still gotta get everything for the games, advertise for the games, and announce like all this stuff. They have licenses and all that stuff for the games. Still costs money. They still need people to create the games, and regardless what you think, like $60 is a lot more than what.
And I think the share of it is going to the publisher, not the developer.
To be honest with you, if maybe the only solution is from now on we should just do direct download.
I think that's where
the future should be.
I think that's what the future should be.
If it's direct download, then all this is solved. It's directly to the consumer. There is no middle person anymore, and you directly download every game, and then you don't have to worry about the casing. You don't have to worry about anything. No online pass. You directly download it, and everything's good.
Because you know,
that's right there. Sorry about that, you two. I just want to make sure we're not going too overboard, but. This is the way it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that the main problem with that, it'll solve the problem of piracy, right? Because that's the other end of the spectrum, right? Is that, say for example China or something like that, right? Why are certain models in China successful and certain aren't? Like for example, if you want to play a game in China, they'll release it in China in physical market. It'll be out on the streets for $1 the next day. So what they focus on? Free to play models and models like that, because they know that those models will work better in those type of environments. Whereas I feel like we're so set in this market. $60 we pay for a game. I think we should be experimenting with different business models to release games for.
Agree, disagree. No, but I understand what you're saying. Like, so I get what you're saying. Hopefully, you guys understand what I'm saying. As you see, that it's two different sides of it. Like,
because don't get us wrong. We both want the developers and people get paid for creating stuff. I just feel like the consumers are getting screwed with online passes. You feel that they're getting what they're paid for.
I feel partly that. Yeah, I wish there was a way to sell it. Maybe if it was dropped down to $5, maybe that might be a better thing. I don't know. I really don't know. But I feel like regardless, they got to do it to save their ass, because I guarantee you, if your favorite publisher and developer went out of business and they can't make your favorite game, I guarantee you, if you found out the next day that, if I only have to pay $10 more to help this company out, you wouldn't pay $10 more to help the company. You're full of shit. You know damn well you would pay that extra $10, because everyone paid the extra $10. That company will be in business still to make you a sequel to their game or another game.
Well, because on that note, a perfect example is Double Fine, right? They put out Brutal Legend. They did horrible for Brutal Legend. They spent all this money on marketing, $60 game. Off the bat, they didn't do good sales. So what did they end up doing? Smaller games, more frequent games, and I think that's the model they're going for. And then now they're had their own game self-funded through Kickstarter. 8 hours, they got $1 million. They're doing their own game. So there's ways to do it. Well, there's other ways to do it than going straight to the publishers so they can screw you, because that's who's getting screwed. The developers are getting screwed by the publishers.
Well, let's put Arkham Asylum, right? Arkham Asylum. Now the game was pretty good. Wasn't that great, right? Then let's say no one paid any money or anything, $60 they're like, they didn't force people to pay. They didn't have online pass for that. I'm just saying, like, in general. You know what I mean? Because they didn't have for the first Arkham Asylum, right? They didn't have that. So I'm saying, like, now, let's pretend like they had, like, an online pass there. And then people paid and that's why they got the new game. Alright, like, what if no one paid that? They would never come out with a second release of that game. You would have been shorted out with a good game.
Yeah, but the first one didn't have online
pass. I'm just trying to say as a point, as in
that you're kind of making my point. The point is that Arkham Asylum didn't have a first online pass.
All right, that was a bad example because they had money to begin with that company. So
Warner Brothers.
But they lost money. But my point is, if you saw how much money they lost on Arkham Asylum, they did not make the money they thought they were going to. They lost millions of dollars. They lost, I forgot how much it was, $2-point-something million off a loss. Okay, and what I was trying to say is if. Like, that could have prevented them from making the second game, but they got lucky on the way they got the game. They actually made way more than they thought in that game, so
I think that's hands down, you know, thanks to Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers gave them the time to develop the game, and they trusted them. They trusted the developer that they would get a return, and the second game was a success. And you know, another company that does this as well is Take-Two. Take-Two is another great company that does this. They trust the developer. They give the developer as much time as they want. And you know, they trust that the developer will release a product that will give them a return on their investment. And I think that's what the problem. I think a lot, you know, especially EA is trying to nickel dime every freaking thing, and they're going to get a problem where, you know, they're just putting every hand in the pot.
Well, you know, EA Sports, EA Games, they're losing a lot of money. They've been losing a lot of money for the last couple of years because a lot of people are not playing games that they used to, like all the sports games, all that stuff have been going down. They've been taking hits left and right. You know, that's just the way it is, and that's the way it's been.
And if we want to talk about just being profitable, the most profitable company does not use online passes, which is Activision, the publisher, right? They do not use online passes at all. And you know why? It's because they focus on Call of Duty, they focus on WoW. Everything else, they scrapped it. You know why? Because it doesn't make them money. So don't put out games and try to nickel and dime the consumer if you don't really believe in that game. That's what I believe in.
So, but the moral of the story, Drew's wrong. Alright, well, I guess that ends our podcast for today, episode 6. And yeah, can't wait for the next one. So
what's coming up for the site, Hector? What are you working on for the month of February?
Right now, we're going to have a Twisted Metal coming out. We also got Darkness 2, forgot that. That's going to come out before Twisted Metal. What do you got?
I'm working on Kingdoms of Amalur, and I'm also working on the Syndicate for this month. So look out for those walkthroughs and reviews from both of us. Check out our site, Not2NerdyEnt.com.
And definitely also give us give us more feedback, give us more comments. And is there anything you want us to discuss in these podcasts? Is there any? We're going to be doing vlogs and stuff, more video vlogs. Is there any questions you want me to post up? And
or any topics you want us to discuss? Yeah.
So just give us feedback. You know, definitely like us. Dislike us, do something, you know. Just give us some feedback, alright? Well, this is Hector.
This is Drew.
And we're from Not2Nerdy Entertainment. See you too. And it didn't record.
Stop saying that.